Of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, which have a standard on qualification framework to promote regional mobility as well as the transferability and comparability of qualifications, are complaining that they must wait months for credentials to be recognized in Kenya.
Students from countries that form part of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, which has agreed on a harmonized qualification framework to advance regional mobility as well as the portability and comparability of qualifications, are complaining that they have to wait for months before their qualifications are approved in Kenya. This has been especially tough on refugees from Somalia and South Sudan whose education system are still unstable, a fact that has made it difficult for them to gain access to quality education in countries of their choice. Many citizens from South Sudan stream into Kenya to search for refuge and a fresh start. Due to their height, many Sudanese teenagers are sought after by basketball coaches in colleges and universities who offer them scholarship opportunities to play for their teams. Somalia and South Sudan, together with Kenya, Ethiopia, Sudan, Djibouti, Uganda, and Eritrea are members of IGAD. These states agreed on a harmonized qualification framework on 14 December 2017. A task force created to oversee the implementation of the program gathered in 2018 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, to lay out their plan of action. During an IGAD conference in March 2022, it was agreed that each country would be allowed to follow their own education system, but standards would have to concur with the set regional qualification framework that would be established. These frameworks also interface with the African Continental Qualification Framework, ACQF, which involve 55 countries and 8 regional frameworks. The KNQA also been helping to develop, implement and monitor the development of frameworks in other countries. The last workshop involving Uganda and Ethiopia took place in Entebbe, Uganda in October 2022. The IGAD qualification framework in practical terms means that it is mandatory for foreigners to accredit their qualifications before joining any institution of their given purpose. Dr. Alice Kade, Acting Director General for the KNQA, explained that many foreign qualifications are awarded without clarification on whether they are accredited in their countries of origin, what they require in terms of learning input, the skills they impart and their equivalence to local qualifications. The authority is playing an important role in ensuring the country only accepts and recognizes foreign qualifications that meet the national standards. The process also protects the country from accepting fake and substandard qualifications, she said.
In December 2017, 8 states, which is Somalia, Sudan, Uganda, Kenya, Ethiopia, South Sudan, Djibouti, and Eritrea, agreed on a harmonized qualification framework. And this is an initiative that seeks to ensure that countries have education systems that allows mobility of citizens who belong to those countries. And that includes being able to transfer your course credits and then even finding jobs. Ethiopia, and their role was to oversee this harmonized qualification framework. Clearly, this initiative has really come far, but here we are today, and we find students who are complaining a lot that although the framework is a very great one, it still sort of poses a few challenges. So Jemima, can you tell us some of the challenges faced by some of these foreign students?
Okay, I would say that foreign students seeking admission to higher education institutions in these African countries face a number of challenges. To the extent that they lose track of their application process. And also, I think there is no recognition for foreign qualification by some institutions. These institutions do not recognize the foreign institutions as part of this, and this, I would say, prolongs their admission processes and also makes the students face lots of challenges.
Okay, now the KNQA is facing challenges. I mean, that's something that we cannot lie about it or anything like that. I mean, in terms of verifying the qualifications from the participating countries. But it has also been argued and it's believed that the KNQA authorities could do a lot to smoothen the process. So Jemima, if you can help us understand how exactly the KNQA can improve its service delivery in terms of the situation at hand.
First of all, I would say the KNQA is the Kenya National Qualification Authority, and these are people who convert results to meet the standards. So one way they can help to, reduce the problems that the students are facing is to accepting online applications of qualification for alignment into the Kenyan, as I said, into the Kenyan qualification framework. So first of all, they can improve their service delivery by adopting a technology solution that streamline the qualification verification process, and also partner with some universities to help smoothing the process and make it more, less stressful.
Okay, and then finally, how effective is the harmonization of the qualification framework when it comes to the East African countries who are involved? Okay,
so the harmonization of qualification frameworks in East Africa, as you said, was proposed by IGAD, and I would say is a good move or is a good initiative, even though it comes with a few of challenges from the foreign students. But however, I feel its effectiveness will depend on the implementation process and also adoption by member states. I feel like its implementation process has to be well organized so students don't face challenges after all these processes.
And currently it seems students coming from South Sudan and Somalia seem to be the ones who are really struggling when it comes to getting into institutions and even getting jobs in Kenya. And so we do hope that KNQA would collaborate probably with IGA to see to it that these challenges are addressed. Now, health news is up next.
So in our health news, researchers have created a model that can identify workplace stress based just on keyboard and mouse movement. Employees may be able to avoid chronic stress earlier as a result.
In Switzerland, 1 in 3 employees suffers from workplace stress. Those affected often don't realize that their physical and mental resources are dwindling until it's too late. This makes it all the more important to identify work-related stress as early as possible where it arises in the workplace. Researchers at Zurich are now taking a crucial step in this direction. Using new data and machine learning, they have developed a model that can tell how stressed we are just from the way we type and use our mouse. The Earth researchers proved in an experiment that stressed people type and move their mouse differently from relaxed people. People who are stressed move the mouse pointer more often and less precisely and cover longer distances on the screen. Relaxed people, on the other hand, take shorter, more direct routes to reach their destination and take more time doing so, Nangelin said. What's more, people who feel stressed in the office make more mistakes when typing. They write in fits and start with many brief pauses. Relaxed people take fewer but longer pauses when typing on a keyboard. The connection between stress and our typing and mouse behavior can be explained with what is known as neuromotor noise theory. Increased levels of stress negatively impact on our brain's ability to process information. To develop their stress model, the Earth researchers observed 90 study participants in the lab performing office tasks that were as close to reality as possible, such as planning appointments or recording and analyzing data. They recorded the participants' mouse and keyboard behavior as well as their heart rates. In addition, the researchers asked the participants several times during the experiment how stressed they felt. While some participants were allowed to work undisturbed, Others also had to take part in a job interview. Half of this group were also repeatedly interrupted with chat messages. In contrast to earlier studies by other scientists, where the control group often did not have to solve any task at all and could relax. In the Earth research experiment, all participants had to perform the office tasks.
Stick with us for Discovery News after this short break.
Welcome to GTP Health and Safety Corner. Charging up goes a long way. Strengthen your immune system. Your immune system needs all the help it can get. Eat well, stay hydrated. Hands pick up a lot. Avoid touching your face. Your well-being is in your hands. Sanitize regularly. Stay safe. GTP, timeless.
The Association of African Universities, in collaboration with the Republic of Namibia and the University of Namibia, cordially invite you to the 22nd edition of the Conference of Rectors, Vice Chancellors and Presidents of African Universities, COREVIP, holding from the 4th to the 7th of July 2023 in Windhoek, Namibia. This year's COREVIP will convene chief executive officers of higher education institutions in Africa, ministers of higher education, researchers, academics, partners from the development and industry communities, as well as all stakeholders interested in higher education. The overall theme of the conference is Advancing Excellence in African Higher Education and is comprised of the following sub-themes: register today on our dedicated event website at www.events.aau.org/COREVIP or call +233 24473 6280 or +233 2641 73153 to participate in Africa's biggest higher education event holding this year. Do not miss this golden opportunity to network, expand your knowledge, contribute to shaping Africa's higher education sector, and form new relationships while strengthening existing ones. To hold a side event, exhibit, sponsor the event, book a speaking slot, and for further information, contact ransford@aau.org or ndako@aau.org. AAU, the voice of higher education in Africa.
In our Discovery, new research by scientists from the National Museum of Kenya, Smithsonian's National Museum of Natural History and Queen's College opens its findings on the first Stone Age innovation known as Odwan Toolkit.
New research by scientists from the National Museums of Kenya, Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History, and Queen's College will go down in history. Its findings reopen the case of who made the first Stone Age innovations known as Odwan Toolkit. Their research has shown tools used by early humans in Western Kenya some 2.9 million years ago. It came as a surprise to the team of researchers. The Odwan Toolkit includes 3 types of stone tools: flakes, hammerstones, and cores. The wear patterns reveal that the stones from the ancient butchery site of Homer Peninsula Basin, that is Western Kenya, were used to process a wide range of materials and foods that include meat, bone marrow, and plants. According to the scientists, the teeth are the oldest Paranthropus fossils even found, and their presence at a site close to the stone tools raises a debate about which human evolutionary ancestor made the tools. The tool is associated with Paranthropus species, unlike how individuals would expect it. This is because most of the Odwan tools have been associated with Homo species, but this one in particular do not have Homo species that have been uncovered. Yet, unless maybe in future as work progresses, it might be found. Beyond offering a window into the dawn of stone technology, the findings bring forth questions about the hominid society of that time and the relationship between culture adaptation and environment.
We'll be back
In the sports news, the African Player of the Year award is one of the most prestigious accolades in football, and this year's top contender Victor Osimhen is set to make history.
The Super Eagles forward, Victor Osimhen, who has been in outstanding form for Italian Serie A team Napoli this season, is the only clear candidate for the award, though the headline reads contenders. Osimhen has scored an impressive 21 goals and provided 4 assists in 23 league appearances, while also scoring 4 goals in 5 UEFA Champions League games. Osimhen has played a crucial role in Napoli's pursuit of their first Scudetto in 33 years, and his form has been made so strong that he won his Serie A Player of the Month for January, only being beaten out by teammate Crecha Carvacelia in February. His goals have propelled Napoli to the top of Serie A with 74 points, an impressive 16 more than second-placed Lazio after 29 games played. 5 of the first 8 CAF Player of the Year honours were given to Nigerian players: Rashidi Yekini, Emmanuel Amunike, Victor Ikpeba, and Nwankwo Kanu. And since Nwankwo Kanu was named the African Player of the Year in 1999, no Nigerian has won the prestigious accolade. Osimhen's impressive form in Italy proves that PSG's Kylian Mbappe and Manchester City's Erling Haaland are not the sole heirs to succeed Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi as Ballon d'Or winners. He deserves a shot at the Ballon d'Or, and his potential is certainly worth noting. The African Player of the Year award is set to make history, and Osimhen is undoubtedly a top contender for the prestigious accolade.
And in the entertainment news, Netflix has
Netflix has announced the expansion of its operation in Africa to demonstrate its commitment to the African market. The online video streaming giant plans to build on the success of shows like the South African series Blood and Water, and has invested €160 million in film content production in Africa since 2016. With a focus on South Africa, Kenya, and Nigeria, Netflix has already created over 12,000 jobs on the continent. According to Shola Sani, Netflix policy director of Sub-Saharan Africa, at a press conference in Johannesburg, this is a start. We plan to reach more countries on the continent. In 2022, Blood and Water, a South African series, became a global hit and even placed first in the United States. And currently, South Africa is Netflix's top African contributor with more than 170 films, series, and documentaries. Also, in 2021, Netflix partnered with UNESCO to fund 6 short films by young African directors, giving them a platform to showcase their talent to the world. Kobi Sayanko, one of the winners and a South African filmmaker, said on the sidelines of the press conference that it's time for mainstream platforms to realize the richness and value of our stories.
IMF has approved $261 million loan for Burundi, its first in 8 years, and it aims to support a push to restore external sustainability, strengthen debt sustainability, while supporting economic recovery.
In a bid to support economic recovery and reforms, the International Monetary Fund (IMF) has announced its approval of a $261.7 million loan for Burundi, marking its first loan to the country in 8 years. Following a visit to Burundi's economic capital, Bujumbura, in February, an IMF team reached a staff-level agreement for a 4-month credit facility for the impoverished country in Central Africa. This loan aims to restore external sustainability, strengthen debt sustainability, support economic recovery from shocks, and create fiscal space for accelerated and inclusive growth, according to the IMF statement. According to the IMF, real GDP growth is predicted to have slowed in 1.8% last year from 3.1% in 2021, but is expected to pick up to 3.3% this year. However, food prices have been driving inflation, which averaged 18.9% last year and 28.6% year over year at the end of January. The IMF projects that inflation will remain high at around 18% in 2023. Burundi has been facing economic challenges since the political upheaval in 2015, with a scarcity of foreign currency and shortages of essential products. The COVID-19 pandemic and the Ukrainian war have also compounded the problem in the nation, with agriculture being the backbone of the economy. The IMF's loan approval is expected to be a significant step towards improving Burundi's economic situation and strengthening its financial stability.
We'll be back for international news. Stay tuned.
International news, over 50 civilian deaths have been reported as a result of a power struggle between Sudan and the paramilitary as different troops fought for control of the presidential palace. State TV and Army headquarters, residents in the capital city of Khartoum had to duck gunfire.
50 civilians have died as a result of a power struggle between the Sudanese army and a notorious paramilitary force that has rocked the nation. The clashes erupted after tensions over a proposed transition to civilian rule. Both the military and its opponents, the Rapid Support Forces, claimed they had control of key sites in Khartoum, where fighting continued overnight. Eyewitnesses reported hearing heavy artillery in Omdurman and the adjoining city of Bari. Gunfire was also reportedly heard in Port Sudan, a city on the Red Sea. According to Sudanese Doctors Committee report, at least 56 civilians were killed in cities and regions around the country, with dozens of military personnel also dead, some of whom had been treated in hospitals. The World Food Programme also suffered losses, with 3 of its employees killed after the RSF and armed forces exchanged fire at a military base in Kabkabia in the west of the country. Generals have been running Sudan since a coup in October 2021, and the fighting is between army units loyal to the de facto leader, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, and the RSF commanded by Sudan's deputy leader, Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo, also known as Hemedti. Hemedti said his troops would keep fighting until all army bases were captured, while Sudan's armed forces ruled out negotiations until the dissolution of the paramilitary RSF. The situation remains tense and volatile, with the country on the brink of further violence and instability.
Thank you for staying with us for the Mid-Week News. Let's take a quick recap of our top stories.
On higher education harmonization process for straight Kenyan students, and also study bills, stress and offers from how people type and think.
And in our discovery for today, oldest East African student aged 2 discovered in Western Cape. And again, Victor Osman set to make history at the African Player of the Year Awards.
And I'll thank you very much for sticking with us on the AAU TV Mid-Week. Interacting with us and allocated news hub via TV at AAU